This is the first quarter 2022 crime briefing. Overall, let's take a look at our crime for 2022. For this first quarter, as you can see, we've had 188 major crime incidents for the first quarter. As you can see, that's probably for the last 5 years. We're coming in third for this quarter, fourth for this quarter for overall crime. Year to date, if you look at exactly where we are in comparison to the previous years, 2020 and 2021, as we're coming out of those COVID years, that gives you a comparison. It looks like we're getting back to normal when it comes down to not only just criminal activity and calls for service, but also when it comes down to just the entire country being able to move around more and be more active and interacting with each other. The first quarter for this year, when we look at homicides, we have had 12 this year. Well, for the quarter, 12 for this year, 17 to date. None of those have been cleared, 50 of those cleared by arrest. The unfortunate that these numbers, that there were 2 juveniles in that number. We hope that that will be the only ones that we have for this year. But we are seeing more and more older people involved in our homicides and our aggravated assaults this year as well. When we take a look at the overall homicides for the trend for the last few years, we see we had last year with 90. We hope to be able to stave that and turn that around as we continue to move on with our efforts and our partnerships with the community. Going over to our rapes, as we can see for the first quarter, we are down slightly as we move through this quarter. There is nothing that stands out and no major arrests that I could highlight for that. Just a lot of good work by our officers, as well as the courage of victims to be able to come forward to report these acts. Looking over the trend, as you can see, we are really low for the trend for the last few years. We have the fewest number of rapes that we've had for the last few years for a first quarter. Next, we're looking at robberies. For this first quarter, our robberies are down significantly as well. And as you can see, as we move forward here, the pattern of violent crime is pretty well flat. We keep playing with going between 1% and being flat for the year. Where we have seen the increase, and we'll get to that, has been in our property crime. Taking a look at our robbery numbers for the last few years, as you can see, the trend continues to go down for this quarter. Aggravated assaults for this year. As you can see, aggravated assaults are up for this quarter compared to the previous years, but it's really on par if you take out the 2 COVID years. That is really on par for where the city has been prior in 2017 and in 2018-19. Aggravated assaults, as you can see, the trend for first quarters for the last few years and where we've been, and actually you can see how things have been. Those 2 COVID years kind of stick out as being really low. Violent crime. Overall, we've had 219 incidences for violent crime overall. And like I said, we are continuing to float around that dead even mark and just between 1% increase as well, too. If we look at the number of what we've had for violent crime for the last few years, we have that chart as well, too, that shows you that trend as well, that we have seen just a slight uptick last year, but it's really kind of down low when you start looking at these other years when we were looking at the number of violent crime incidences that were happening. Arson, this really stands out with us right here. 17 this year. Even in 2020 when we had the social unrest and there were a lot of arsons, as you can see, 17, that's quite a lot. That is, we're contributing that major increase to 1 juvenile who actually started 9 non-structure fires in his pursuit to win the attention of a young lady. So 9 of those 17s have been solved, and we know exactly who the suspect is, and we are actually in the process of doing everything we can to get the young man help. As you can see, the trend for arson as the last few years, and in 2020, social unrest year, we had quite a few arsons of that year. Burglaries. Burglaries for this quarter, as you can see, we have a trend that we're starting to go up, and I said property crime was the one that's pushing our issues this year, or so far this year when it comes down to crime. And we have seen a Measure of increase of burglaries, we've seen a lot of smash and grab with businesses. We had a trend that we tried to address when it came down to auto parts stores. Quite a few have seen the front window broken out. Suspects go in, grab a few items, and come out as well too. We saw where some suspects were going into retail stores and even going in and stealing socks and small items. So here's the trend for burglaries for the last few years. The city has been seeing a steady decrease in burglaries as we go along. Where we also see a great deal of increase in our crime has been in larcenies. Shoplifting right now is up by 37%. Excuse me. Okay, thank you, Tracy. Perfect timing for that. Shopliftings are up 37% currently right now. Thefts from buildings is up 35% right now, and theft from motor vehicles is up 64%. Of course, shoplifting, we encourage our shop owners not to engage with people who are shoplifting so that it doesn't turn into an armed robbery. Also, the theft from buildings, this is something that we all should pay heed to. These are really packages that are being left on porches. These are packages being left in mail rooms and things of that nature. We encourage communities, multi-housing communities, to actually secure their mail rooms. We encourage people to have their packages delivered to work so that someone doesn't pick them up off the porch here. Theft from motor vehicles, that number is 64%. That's up by 64%. A great deal of those are catalytic converter thefts. We've talked about this over and over and over again. This trend goes all up and down the East Coast, doing everything that you can to prevent that by purchasing and having preventative measures installed onto your vehicles, but also if you see a pair of feet sticking from up on the car in the middle of the night, call 911. We'll go into that later on, in which we've had some success with making arrests in catalytic converter thefts, but we'll go into that a little later. Here's the trends that we've had for larcenies throughout the year. As you can see, we're still kind of low if you start looking at the rest of the year. Now, the rest of the years that we're looking at here. Theft from motor vehicle. Once again, I just spoke about this. I got a little ahead of myself. 239 of those 239, 191 catalytic converter thefts. Catalytic converter thefts. Motor vehicle thefts, 786. It's still looking down. Motor vehicle thefts. Yes, this is when the vehicles are actually stolen. I think I got ahead of myself here. I may have got that confused. Yes, this is motor vehicle theft. Excuse me. I talked that 239 is for motor vehicle thefts. That does not include the 191 of catalytic converter thefts. This is actually when someone actually steals your vehicle and drives it, go joyriding, or use it in a crime. I just want to make sure that we're correct on that. As you can see, the trend as we look at motor vehicle thefts for the last few years, we're still trending down in that category as well too. The best way to actually prevent your vehicle from actually being stolen is to actually keep control of your keys to your car. You go to a party, you lay it down, or you don't have your keys secure, someone gets hold of your keys. Next thing you know, they take your keys and they take your car as well too. Property crime for this first quarter, as you can see, the numbers are going up. That's where we see the increase in crime right now. Our violent crime is flattening out. We hope to continue to push that into a negative as we continue throughout the year, but we need some work and we need the public's help in addressing the property crime as well too. Here's the trends for property crime. Although it's up for this quarter right now, the beginning of this year, it's still, for the last few years, it's still starting to trend downward. Okay, next. Let's talk about some good arrests. We talked about this a little bit earlier when it comes down. We had this quarter alone, we had an officer spotted some feet coming from up under a car and then stops, and next you know he makes a good arrest. In the first precinct, the man was arrested for the theft of catalytic converter. We're asking people to consider installing cable-type security systems for your catalytic converter. And be alert at night when it comes down to your neighborhoods. If you see a strange vehicle in your neighborhoods moving slowly, and like pickup trucks, we see that quite a bit, or some kind of construction van that can house not only the catalytic converters they take, but also the jacks and the other equipment that it takes to actually commit these crimes. Please give us a call and let us know. But if you definitely see feet coming from under a vehicle in the middle of the night, that is not normal behavior. And like I said, for this year alone, 222 arrests. For the year 222, we've made 8 arrests of catalytic converters. 8. You take that number, we've had 191 catalytic converter reports taken this year. That's a dent. That's only going to be a dent in it. We don't know how many of these 8 offenders actually committed, but we need the community's help in actually helping to address it. And this is also, like I said, a national occurrence. We need everyone's help to solve these issues and what we can do. All right. Major crimes overall for 2022, for the first quarter, as you can see, we are coming out of those COVID years and we're getting back to our normal numbers, it appears. And those numbers are being driven by property crime. However, for the last few years, our major crime, as you can see, overall crime is starting to trend down. Okay, next slide. Is our major crimes citywide. This is what it looks like for the trends, as you can see, from 2017, 18, 19, 20, and 21, 22, what we're looking at when it comes down to crime, when it comes down to the homicide rates for this quarter as well. Okay. Violent crime reduction. Violent crime is on everyone's mind. We just announced, the city just announced its violent crime initiatives, gun violence reduction initiatives yesterday. And so violent crime is on everyone's mind. Our part and what we're doing, and not only partnering with cities and NGOs and everyone that we can to reduce the gun violence in the city and violence overall, but we are also utilizing our national public safety partnership. We have been partnering with the federal partners, the ATF, FBI, DEA, U.S. Attorney's Office. We have bi-weekly meetings with them to go over some of the initiatives that we have. Learning from our peers, peer exchange and adoption of best practices. You can't believe how this is just going to be a great benefit, and is a great benefit when we start to look at the best practices across the country when it comes down to addressing issues. We actually get to reach out to those other police agencies across the countries who have been successful. How have they addressed it and how have they reduced crime as well too? The assessment of various practices and functions. We are able to actually have the DOJ come in and take a look at our practices of how does our investigation unit work? How can we make it better? How effective can it be, and how effective is it? Where are the gaps and where are the areas of improvement? And we're also looking into developing a real-time crime center that will help us respond to crime in real time and to be able to complete investigations and also to do a great deal of preventive work when it comes down to crime. And there are quite a few of these around the country, and we are looking to see which one fits Richmond the best as well. All right. Operation Red Ball, and it wouldn't be a quarterly review if I did not mention that Officer Ronnie Armstead is in the back, who has headed this up and has been a great influence and a great part of the success here of Operation Red Ball. We have extended it because, quite simply, it is working. Operation Red Ball has taken 159 firearms to date off the street, made 144 felony arrests, made 93 misdemeanor arrests, and executed 42 warrants. 42 warrants were served. So this continues on. This is very good work, and we want them to continue. I'm sorry, what did you say, Ronnie? It's a little higher now, but this is for the first quarter, through the first quarter. So these numbers are going to be higher now when you come down to year to date. Thank you for that, Ronnie. The slide doesn't say that. Okay, total firearm seized for this year. This is the work of not only Operation Red Ball, but also our other officers. We've taken 248 guns off the street. Next. Community engagement. We are getting back. Everyone can say that we are getting back. COVID, the effects of COVID are starting to go away, and now we can even do more community engagement. Remember the car club curtail that we actually did, where we had the car club who wanted to come to Richmond, and we did a great deal of work and made some very good arrests with that and addressing those to come here. And we could actually speak on this as well too, because that one was a really, really large club, over 100 vehicles who wanted to come to Richmond. We can also, and we're also addressing it, smaller car clubs that are around the country, around the city, that want to meet, hang out, and do this kind of driving and participate in this kind of activity. Our watch commanders are doing a great job of actually watching them. Officers will go by, especially late at night, and see an empty parking lot and groups of cars gathered by. They will pull in and engage them to let them know car clubs are great, but the reckless driving and all these offenses here that they will be addressed if they actually step out of line with the car club will be addressed. So this effort continues. This effort continues in Richmond, and also when I speak to the other chiefs who are in the areas too, they deal with this as well too. Next slide. So far for this quarter, we are getting back, like I said, to the community. We've had 91 meetings and outreach events. Here is Biddy Ball right here that actually took place at our academy. It was a great event, bringing the kids out and actually having them go out and play basketball, and not necessarily basketball in the 10-foot goals. Some of them did, but we actually had lower goals for them. It was a great event. Next. Youth empowerment. We are still getting back to our youth, and we are doing what is very important. And right now we want to highlight some of the efforts that we've done with mentoring. This is National Mentoring Month, and we actually jumped in there and we're getting back and engaging our kids. Next. We're doing our community walks again. We have walks scheduled for the next few months, and those dates and locations will be posted as well. Training provided to the Richmond Regional Tourism about getting out with the public. Partnerships with the Vineyard Agent Association. Here we are down here, and Detective Fawn is down there as well, mentioning with them. She's in the room as well. She is our liaison to the Asian community as well. So we are getting back out to people. We're getting back out to everyone. This is great efforts here by two officers who actually, reached out to some the Williams family in need in the Hillside community, and actually just took it upon themselves to help out a family in need. So, and these are the things that officers you don't see all the time. You don't see this not highlighted. This is just coming from the heart. Next. Richmond is opening up again. We participate in festivals. We can see that we're opening up again. We're starting to gather in places that we haven't seen in a while. And this is a time that we just want to tell the public as we get back out into the world and we're starting to gather again, remember the rules of what we ask you to do. If you see something, say something. Lock up your car. Don't leave your gun in your car. Let's not have these celebrations and the times that we come together as being marred by car break-ins and potential bad acts that could happen. So as we start to get out together, if you see something and you say something, then public safety, police, fire, medic will do something. Next. We also helped out with the governor's inauguration. This is our SOD unit who actually did a great part of that with the planning as well as the execution of that went on very well. The governor brings in all the law enforcement agencies after this event and actually personally thanks them. And this is the time that he actually thanked RPD. Next. Our recruiting efforts continue. We're doing a great job with this. We're actually starting to be ready to push out even a little further. This was actually designed by our own McConte. He was in the office, in the room right now, that we actually did some recruiting at the Comic-Con that came here to Richmond, which was also a great event. So this is Captain RPD. It's not Captain America. Okay. Next, our newest recruits. I believe this class was 15 recruits that we just graduated, and they're in the process of finishing up their training, their field training right now. And we continue to push right now. We're starting to see some interest, a great deal of interest in our department as well. Of course, in this quarter as well, too, you remember this particular incident where these two officers actually rescued 10 people from a hotel fire on Midlothian. They actually were responding and saw that the hotel was on fire and went from door to door to door to door to get people out. We cannot forget the great efforts that they've actually accomplished here. Shockoe Bottom Entertainment District. Shockoe Bottom, the weather is warm now, and the number of people going down the entertainment district has increased, and we have started to pick up our efforts out there. Major Rick Edwards is in the room. He is leading that effort. We have actually sat down with the Shockoe Bottom Partnership and others to talk about the safety of that entertainment district, and you will, if you go down there, on the weekends, you will see a heavy presence of RPD. That is because we want everyone to be safe when they go down there to have a good time. And that is what we're doing. We'll continue to work with the entertainment district to make sure that it's safe. Next. Crime Stoppers 250, Gun 250 and Crime Stoppers is in effect. We are doing everything that we're looking to do to bring guns off the street. We're actually even maybe looking to increase the amount that we will take in for Gun 250. If you have information about any weapon that was used in a crime, that if you give us a call, you are eligible for a reward with that as well too. And of course, Crime Stoppers is always there to take in information and to actually give out rewards for specific crimes that they are offering money to. Next. We've asked this before, I've mentioned this earlier. Secure your firearms with portable gun safes. Your glove box or your center console under your seat is not how you secure a weapon. It's not how you secure your gun in your car. we actually see a lot of weapons stolen around the Shockoe Bottom Entertainment District, because the entertainment venues down there, they do a pretty good job of searching people and don't allow weapons into their venues, and so there are some guns that are left around. So we have to also be down there for the safety of the people, but also the safety of the vehicles being broken into. But this is a very cheap investment that you could take on. Very, very cheap investment to actually make sure that your gun does not fall into the hands of criminals, or even worse, and fall into the hands of a kid. Next. Okay. Well, there was one more slide, guys. You missed it. Okay. One more slide that we wanted to highlight, because you guys have covered the story pretty well here, but it's not in this particular quarter. But this is also National Missing Persons Month, and we were going to highlight another gentleman that was also reunited with his family this month. RPD will continue its efforts to reunite families with their missing loved ones. We wanted to take a moment to thank the media for taking on these events and actually using your immense power to get the word out. You never know. The smallest word, the smallest bit of information could actually reunite a family. And we just had another incident here where we actually reunited a subject with her family. I'm not going to mention her name because that'll be in next quarter, but you guys did a great job in covering that, and RPD was glad to be part of that and reuniting her with her family. So, but at this time, if the Uplift Ukraine guys, if you guys want to come up. We are donating 280 retired body armor vests from CMPD to the efforts, to this foundation that they are going to deliver to, can we say freedom fighters? Or we can say
freedom fighters and humanitarian aid workers that actually have safe passage.
This is something that they reached out to us about, and we jumped on it right away. The administration is behind it 100% as well too, and we hope that these vests will help protect the heroes over in Ukraine as well as they protected the heroes here in Richmond, Virginia.
Their family members are there, and they're experiencing death and carnage and despair.
Those vests soon.
I hope they do protect you.
You're saving lives by doing that.
I hope we are. I pray we are.
You do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.